Topic explains that risk-adjusted return on capital (RAROC) is a performance measurement framework used by financial institutions to evaluate profitability relative to the risks undertaken. Traditional profitability measures often focus only on accounting returns without considering the amount of risk required to generate those returns. RAROC addresses this limitation by incorporating risk exposure directly into performance evaluation. Institutions use RAROC to compare business units, products, portfolios, and investment opportunities on a consistent risk-adjusted basis. By linking profitability with economic capital allocation, RAROC improves strategic decision-making and supports more efficient use of institutional resources while strengthening overall risk management and financial performance evaluation. RAROC is generally calculated by dividing risk-adjusted expected return by economic capital allocated to absorb potential unexpected losses. Risk-adjusted return considers revenues after deducting expected losses, funding costs, operating expenses, and other risk-related adjustments. Economic capital represents the amount of capital required to protect the institution against unexpected losses at a chosen confidence level. This framework enables management to determine whether business activities generate sufficient returns relative to their underlying risks. Activities producing higher RAROC values are considered more efficient from a risk-adjusted perspective. Institutions therefore use RAROC extensively for pricing decisions, capital budgeting, performance measurement, portfolio optimization, and strategic resource allocation. Topic also focuses on the relationship between RAROC, hurdle rates, and adjusted RAROC measures. A hurdle rate represents the minimum acceptable return required by an institution to compensate for the risks associated with a business activity or investment. Management compares calculated RAROC values against hurdle rates to determine whether activities create economic value. If RAROC exceeds the hurdle rate, the activity is considered profitable on a risk-adjusted basis. If not, management may reject or restructure the investment. Hurdle rates typically reflect the institution's cost of capital, shareholder expectations, regulatory requirements, and strategic objectives. This comparison improves discipline in capital allocation and investment decision-making processes. Adjusted RAROC extends the traditional RAROC framework by incorporating additional considerations affecting long-term profitability and risk evaluation. Institutions may adjust returns for taxes, liquidity costs, operational risks, diversification effects, or macroeconomic conditions to improve measurement accuracy. Adjusted RAROC recognizes that financial performance depends not only on direct revenues and losses but also on broader institutional and market factors influencing economic outcomes. Financial institutions increasingly integrate stress testing, scenario analysis, and forward-looking assumptions into adjusted RAROC calculations. These enhancements improve the reliability of performance evaluations, particularly during periods of market stress or economic uncertainty when historical assumptions may become less reliable. Topic also discusses diversification benefits and their role within RAROC frameworks. Diversification reduces overall portfolio risk because losses across different business activities, products, or asset classes may not occur simultaneously. Institutions therefore allocate less economic capital to diversified portfolios than to concentrated exposures with similar standalone risks. RAROC frameworks that incorporate diversification effects provide more accurate assessments of risk-adjusted profitability across business units. However, diversification assumptions require careful analysis because correlations between risks often increase during financial crises, reducing diversification benefits. Institutions must therefore evaluate concentration risk, interconnected exposures, and stress scenarios when incorporating diversification into economic capital and RAROC calculations. Best practices for implementing RAROC frameworks include strong governance, consistent methodologies, reliable data, and integration with broader enterprise risk management systems. Boards of directors and senior management establish policies governing risk-adjusted performance measurement and capital allocation decisions. Institutions must ensure transparency regarding assumptions, economic capital models, and risk measurement techniques used within RAROC calculations. Independent validation and ongoing monitoring strengthen reliability and consistency across business activities. Effective RAROC systems also align compensation structures and strategic objectives with risk-adjusted performance outcomes. Continuous refinement of models, data quality, and stress testing capabilities improves decision-making and enhances institutional resilience in dynamic financial environments. RAROC frameworks provide significant strategic value because they connect profitability, capital management, and risk oversight within a unified performance measurement system. Institutions using robust RAROC methodologies can identify inefficient activities, optimize portfolio structures, improve pricing strategies, and allocate capital more effectively across competing opportunities. Regulators also support risk-adjusted performance approaches because they encourage prudent risk-taking and stronger financial discipline. As financial institutions face increasingly complex risks involving market volatility, operational disruptions, cybersecurity threats, and changing regulations, RAROC frameworks continue evolving to incorporate broader resilience and sustainability considerations. Ultimately, RAROC supports balanced decision-making, long-term shareholder value creation, and enhanced financial stability across modern financial systems. Strong integration between RAROC, diversification analysis, stress testing, and strategic planning is essential for maintaining sustainable financial performance in uncertain market conditions. Institutions that rely solely on traditional accounting returns may underestimate risk concentrations and allocate capital inefficiently. In contrast, comprehensive RAROC frameworks encourage management to evaluate both profitability and resilience simultaneously. Advanced institutions increasingly combine quantitative risk models with qualitative assessments, scenario analysis, and forward-looking economic assumptions to improve risk-adjusted decision-making. These integrated practices strengthen governance, improve transparency, and support adaptive risk management capabilities. Ultimately, effective use of RAROC helps institutions achieve competitive performance while maintaining prudent capital management and long-term organizational stability.